Welcome to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. As always, thanks so much for joining us. So as you listen to the show, listen, I get it, right? The word change and life changing and transformation, all these cool words that we hear, but we hear that word change. And I know we get that knot in our stomach and we go, oh my God, what do I do next? So here's the deal. I hope that my guests and I provide tips and strategies that you can apply. Additionally, I have a free resource for you and a free gift. Go to my website, my free communication style assessment. It gives you 2 reports. One spotlights your natural superpowers. It's how people see you, just naturally easy peasy for you. The flip side, you will get a second report spotlighting your lowest style, which is typically a blind spot. And knowing these 2 extremes of self just helps us show up a little bit more authentically, but also in a position of power. So hopefully that helps you on your journey of change. Go to whitmanassociates.com/CSA, and that link will be in the show notes, of course. Now, my motivational quote today is by Morghan King, and Morghan says, "Yoga and physical health go beyond our moments on the mat." As time, Matt, as time passes, I hear more and more about the importance of self-care, being present, to help you with the day-to-day stressors in life. And for me, yoga is truly a lifeline that helps me personally quiet my mind, stretch, absolutely, and strengthen my body. It also allows me to feel strong and calm at the same time. What a great combination for me, especially because I have that monkey mind, and quieting my mind just hasn't been an easy task through the years for me. Now, I'm always excited when I get to share a guest who helps us bring that quote I started with to life, meaning you can bring that yoga mat with us as we live our lives in the world. Today, my guest is the amazing Melanie Salvatore-August. Now, Melanie is a mother of 3, yoga teacher, trainer, Reiki Master, and author, and she gives in-depth instruction for specific yoga poses, which are not so easy, and teaches you how they can assist as immune system boosters. Her motivating book, I'm going to have her share the title. I don't have it in my notes, but it outlines the ins and outs of why yoga promotes optimal health. Yoga to support immunity offers holistic, self-care driven support for optimal health, a practical guide that easily can be integrated into our everyday lives. Now, Melanie's book has been chosen as a Forward Indie Book Award finalist in the health category. Woo, Mel. So please help me welcome Melanie to the show. So Mel, thanks for being on. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Connie. You're just great. Yoga to support immunity. So I even said it in your intro. That's the book. Mind, Body, Breathing Guide to Whole Health. And the whole part really interests me, like the whole WHOLE, like everything together, like what is essential and important in any given moment. And when we are tuned in on all the levels, when our heart, or you might call it consciousness or your soul, whatever you want to call it, when your heart is being heard and your mind is aligned with it, and then you make your choices in alignment with that, you're a powerhouse, right? That's when we're totally present. We're totally available to get all the cues that life is giving us, right? We don't miss it, like, oh boy, I missed that and I messed up or whatever. We're online and we're potent. So the whole part is really important.
Yeah. And see, I love that because right, in the medical profession, and we need the medical profession. I'm not dissing it in any way, but you go to a doctor for your colonoscopy or your mammogram, or I know I'm talking women, right? But a colonoscopy is for men, but you go to those specific doctors. So if you don't have, I personally happen to have a holistic doctor that she's been with me, or I've been with her for 20 years. Right. She looks at they take like 10 vials of blood. I'm drained after. It's like a vampire, right? but they do a lot of blood work, and I do it twice a year. We measure the nutrients in my body, the vitamin D levels, all of those vitamin levels, my hormonal levels, all of those things, because she tries to look at the organs, my kidney organ, my liver function, all of those things, because it's a big picture of everything that's going on in my body. And then we talk about strategies for supplements, eating, things like that, that my body is starving or needing to remain healthy. So I believe in that whole, you know, use that word whole. I think that's critical when we talk about building our immunity in these very natural ways, which is important, and it alleviates, and I'll just share with you, Melanie, my mom and dad are 91 and 93. And my mother-in-law is also later in life, 89. None of them take a lot of medication. My mom, I think, just takes vitamins. You know, my dad has eye drops for his eyes. So when you don't have a lot of the medicines, because they've used food and exercise through their life, you know, gardening, and when I say, you know, work, they just
100%.
work. All of that has created this very holistic, whether they realized it or not during their life. But again, they're very healthy because their lack of medication, which creates other havoc on the kidneys and organs. So I love that word whole, because I think we have to approach every aspect of life from that holistic whole perspective. Do you want to add anything before I ask my question?
Just 100%, Connie. And the whole part that when we're disjointed, then we're not working in harmony. So we're usually, I call it a leak. When we're disjointed, we're leaking energy, and that's exhausting. So we don't have the resources we need, our immune system, our whole being, right? So so it's really about power, right? When you're leaking, you don't have power.
That's right.
So, and where do you place your power or your energy? You know, so that's very much what yoga to support immunity is, and yoga is. Yoga, it's yoking heart, mind, actions, right? It's not necessarily stretching. Stretching's great. It can be a part of the yoga practice, but it's unifying all those layers of ourselves so we are effective and peacefully powerful and happy.
Natural medicine, right? Just through movement and breathing. It's remarkable. Our body knows what to do. We forget what to do, and we force it out of.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So talk to me about how yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and maybe everyday habits that could change the health and life of my listeners.
You know, again, breaking it down and simplifying it. It's practical, right? Sometimes if we even think yoga and we think, oh, isn't this an ancient practice? Suddenly we go out in the world of like esoteric, super practical. How do you think? And we'll talk about that in a second. How you move. So easy. Now, what are you doing first thing when you wake up in the morning? And how do you breathe? Okay. I'll just start with move because it's such an easy one.
Okay.
Are you moving your spine in all directions at least once a day? At very, very least.
No.
That's what we want. We want elongation and stretch. We want side stretching, and we want a twist. We want a good compression, deep flexion. Yes, right? That's what we're looking for. And in the book, I call it a 3-minute essential daily sequence, right? If you move your spine, it won't even take 3 minutes, honestly. It takes 1 minute. But if you move your spine in all directions every day, you're going to do a bunch of cool things for yourself. You're going to make room for your internal organs. You're going to increase your circulation, blood and oxygen, synovial fluid through the joints, and you're going to decrease your inflammation. It's all about decreasing inflammation in our world. You also, as you're moving, it's this moment where your mind can get on board, where your mind is checking in with the body. Lots of times our mind is so far off in the future, in the past, right? We're ignoring the body that lives in the present.
Yeah.
So simple, just 1 minute to come back and check in, and to come back and actually listen to the body. The body does not lie. The body's not a liar. The mind, P.S., can be a liar, right? Doesn't mean to be, but it doesn't always tell us the truth, but the body will tell us the truth. So check in.
Yeah, I just want to comment on that because I had torn my meniscus many years ago. I was working out, and yes, I'm the type that I was doing the elliptical, and my knee started hurting, and I was like, "You have 45 minutes, suck it up, get it done. Like, put your time." Yeah, that's me. I'm very hard on myself. So not so much anymore. This is a while ago, and I tore my meniscus. Moron over here that I am. Anyway, fast forward, it wasn't bad enough that they said surgery is silly. Let's do some rehab and exercises. And so I started doing that. But can I tell you, Mel, the pain was chronic. Before I'd move, I'd have to think getting in and out of the car. At Christmas, I would host the family gatherings. I'd have to put a brace on. I mean, it was bad. And then I met through a networking event, an energy healer. And she's like, I think you got some energy blocked. And it goes to your weakest area, which in your case is the meniscus tear, right? Blah, blah, blah. I have not, it's been probably about 8 years, knock on wood. I always knock on wood when I say this. Pain is gone. She removed that energy block. So when you say the body doesn't lie, it was stress and life, and it settled, and I didn't know how to undo it. And I did do yoga. I had to be very careful because this knee was just chronic. So our body doesn't lie. And as soon as that energy was removed from, that negative energy, the pain went away. But what happened? You increased productivity, right? I was more focused at work because, with my business, because I wasn't like, oh, that knee is killing me, get up and move around, and right, all of those things. So the body doesn't lie. I love that. But it's hard to listen sometimes.
Well, our mind has been programmed. From the very beginning, we've been programmed on all different levels. So that programming of just push through, or the programming of a certain value system that maybe we need to rethink, like the value system of this kind of tangible productivity is the most important thing. Yeah. Instead of the value system of being whole and harmonious is actually going to take me into a productivity and a expansion of my life that is well beyond what my mind is saying if I follow this linear path, right? I feel like our potential is way beyond what the mind can even hold. Yeah. And part of that potential is tuning back in to the body.
Yeah.
And the heart, that the soul part, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, this isn't, it's so funny on the show. We have these great conversations, and I love the simple ideas, because then, people can listen to the show, and like your example with the spine, moving the spine 1 minute in the morning, everybody can do that. It's not like, oh, now I have to go buy equipment and I have to schedule an hour. So I love these little tips. You mentioned breathing before, right? What's the importance of breathing? And can you give us an example, perhaps?
Yes.
What's the importance of breathing from that immune boosting perspective, as well as other pieces of our life?
Connie, can I add one more thing to the stretch that I think will be really helpful for everyone?
Sure.
And this is where it comes to habits. So I wonder what you do every morning. Like for me, every morning, like clockwork, I get out of bed and I go to my bathroom. Then I go to, I use the bathroom, and then I go to the kitchen. Clockwork. I don't have to think about it. It is an automatic habit. Correct. So I input into those two spots my spinal stretch. So I get up, I go use the bathroom, wash my hands and stretch my spine. Or go to the kitchen, I push against my counter, I stretch my spine. Right. So I get it in. It's not like if something has to, I just stack it on top of another habit that's already working that I don't have to think about.
I love it. So while I'm making my coffee in the morning, for instance, I like that, using the cabinets to lean and stretch, but you have a little bit of integrity too. Right? Or something to hold on to.
100%.
That's a great idea. I love that. Stacking. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And you go on to something that you're already doing, you don't think about it.
Yeah.
Right. If you are a coffee drinker, you make coffee every morning. That's a perfect habit to stack things in. Add your vitamins, add your extra glass of water, add your stretch against the counter. That's when you do it. Don't try to add something totally different in the middle of the day that you may never get to. So.
Can I ask a question? You mentioned the water, drink a little bit extra water. I'm a big water drinker. I go to the bathroom a lot because I drink so much, but yeah, I'm very hydrated. So, but here's my question. In the morning, I had read an article that is when we are actually the most dehydrated, right? Because you've gone several hours. So I always have my water bottle. I fill it before I go up to bed. And then when I wake up in the morning, I sit at the edge of my bed and I drink probably about 15 to 20 ounces right out of the gate. I do it and I feel good, right? I do it, but is it about the lubricating the joints, getting the organs moving? Like what's really the benefit of the water? You just mentioned water. That's why I'm curious.
Absolutely. Yes. And yes, there's two things I want to add to that, Connie. So first, I'm so glad you do that. It's one of the most important habits that you fill it up at night. So you've prepared the night before. Yeah. That's such an amazing, helpful habit. And I just want to urge everybody to think, before you go to bed, what can you set up for yourself? And when you're setting it up, see yourself doing it in your mind's eye. You fill up your water bottle and you're like, I'm going to drink this tomorrow morning. And you'll do it. Your chances of doing it raise. So I just applaud you on that.
Thank you.
We're drinking the water. We're stimulating the digestive system, right? So you're starting to get things moving. You're stimulating the bowels. You're helping the liver. So it's all of it. You're helping a whole circulation. And then obviously you're hydrating. So it's so helpful. Really about eliminating the toxins that your internal organs, your liver, your kidneys have really worked hard to pull out during the night. That's what the body's doing. It's digesting and it's also pulling out toxins. So now I got a little, this might throw off your system, but I have a little something to add to your system if you're willing, if you're open.
Sure.
Okay. So you may notice or may not that sometimes there's a layer, like a white or gray layer on the tongue in the morning. You might just like, oh, this is morning breath. So as our internal organs are detoxing, usually a lot of the toxins lay on the tongue. So in Ayurveda yogic, as kind of sister health practice, we scrape the tongue before we drink the water. So it goes, wake up, scrape your tongue, drink your warm or room temperature water. So
how do you scrape your tongue? I know that sounds ignorant.
Well, and you know what you can use now, we in Ayurveda, like we use like this copper or steel kind of scraper. So you could do that, but just use a spoon. Like you have a spoon in your drawer, just take a spoon and clear off the top of your tongue and it'll be gross. And you'll be like, ooh, Mel, that's a lot of white yuck on there. And I'll be like, yes, isn't it so great? You're not drinking it down into your stomach. You're not taking it back into your body.
Perfect. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I like simple, Mel. I'm a simple kind of gal. So I
like
simple.
Me too.
Well, okay. So another great tip, stack the stretching, the water. That was my tip, by the way.
Yes, it was.
But the water, but scraping the tongue. No one has ever told me that. That's fascinating.
Oh, good.
Love it. That's a new one. So Mel, I'm loving you. All right. Now let's talk about the breathing.
Breath.
Yeah.
Breath. Okay. So just breathe, right? How many times have we all heard that? It's true. It's right. Just breathe. And around age 2, as we start to get like more cognitive, we start to separate from our mother, we start to see ourselves as separate people, all of these things. We start to have a more of a stress response in our breath where we use just the top part of the lungs, right? So it's more of a shallow breath, and probably just saying it to you. I'm sorry, listeners. We probably all went,
yeah,
right? Now,
exactly. I started paying attention,
right? If you're not driving, take your hands on your low belly and breathe all the way down. And that is our natural God-given breath. Like that's when, you watch babies. The babies breathe, their diaphragm moves all the way down into the belly, their entire lungs, all the areas of the lung fill up with air. And what also happens when we take that big, deep breath, that the back, so, okay, there's a breathing muscle. So you have your lungs, And then you have the diaphragm. The diaphragm is like a dome, and it's right underneath the lungs. And it's like a kind of like a mushroom kind of dome. Now, when you inhale, the mushroom pushes down, and that's when your belly button goes out. And when you exhale, it lifts back up and the air goes out. Okay, so that's our breathing muscle, the diaphragm. The diaphragm, it's in the front, in the center, but it attaches right near the back ribs. So if you can, you're not driving or whatever, you're touching to the back ribs. That's the back of the diaphragm attachment right there. Funny, it's near your adrenals as well. There is a nerve called the vagus nerve. It's been getting a lot of attention over the last, I don't know, 15 years or whatever. But the vagus nerve moves all the way through all the internal organs. It starts at the brainstem, and like a vagabond, it moves all the way through. So it's not like one line, it's very, very spread. And it goes all the way down, and it passes right near the diaphragm attachment. Now, the vagus nerve's main job is to calm you down. Its main job is to communicate to the brain and the systems that you're safe. When you're safe, you take big, deep breaths. And when you take big, deep breaths, the back of the diaphragm attachment massages the vagus nerve. When you're taking shallow breaths, there's no massage of the vagus nerve. And that means, oh, I'm in danger. So you got these, I'm oversimplifying, but these two modes: stress mode, danger mode, or relaxation mode.
Yeah.
So stress mode, it's really about escaping. It's running or fighting or even freezing, right? So often it's like tiger image, like there's a tiger, your body needs to flee, needs to fight, or it needs to freeze. So when that happens, all of your energy, your systems focus on shunting the blood going to the muscles so you can be fast, right? Your eyesight gets a little stronger so you can see. The breath shallows, right? When it's let me pause here. There's no energy going towards your longevity functions. So nothing towards immunity, nothing towards digestion. Who needs that? You're about to be eaten by the tiger, right?
Right.
Nothing's going towards hormone function, right? So stress response, it has its purpose, but we don't want to chronically be in there.
Yeah.
The relaxation response, the other one, that's your longevity function. So when you massage that vagus nerve, the blood relaxes and moves out of the muscle, your breath slows down, and their energy goes towards all of those things I mentioned: immunity, hormone, digestion, all the things that's going to help you really be resilient long term. So when we take that big, full, complete breath, you're expanding the front of the belly to the sides, all the way back to that button at the back of the attachments. You are resetting your nervous system. And that kind of like it reset button will then begin to shift all your resources towards towards healing. So,
All right, so go ahead.
No, the more we do it, the easier it becomes.
Okay, so a couple of questions. The vagus nerve, did I say that correctly? Vagus nerve. Okay. Is there more discussion about it? Because are scientists and folks like yourself finding that because we're not breathing, that vagus nerve isn't activated maybe as much as it probably should be, right? Is that part of the research and the issues that we're finding?
I think so. I think that that's rightly said. What you hear a lot is vagus nerve toning. So like the nerve itself needs regular activation. And so it's like anything, you use it or lose it. It's not that we're going to lose the vagus nerve. Of course we're not. But its ability to regulate and reset your system in an efficient way is about usage.
And the more, I would think, the more you think about breathing, because that's really the activation piece, right, for the vagus nerve. If we start focusing on that breathing, so maybe in the morning when we do the spine and we do a couple of, breathing, is that a good time to start to activate and use that vagus nerve? And then my follow-up question to that is, the more we do that, do you stop thinking, oh, wait, I have to breathe now, right? I have to use my diaphragm and all of that. Do we start doing it more naturally? Can it become a habit? I guess that's my question.
It can, though it is one that takes a lot of time,
Yeah.
because that chronic response is, that groove is deep. And if you remember just twice a day to reset your nervous system, you're already going to really benefit. Let's say you're an overachiever and you remember once an hour. Oh my goodness, the benefits that could happen. And I have a little, it's not a hack. I don't know. What is a hack? It's a hack. It's a life hack, um, for this. And that is, okay, you're in bed and I don't know, maybe you wake up on your side, maybe you wake up on your back, wherever you wake up. Okay. Turn onto your tummy, turn onto your tummy and breathe, pushing your belly button into your mattress.
Oh,
As you push your belly button into the mattress, there's nowhere else for it to go. So then the diaphragm opens up stronger on the sides and into the back.
oh, brilliant.
So just reset your nervous system, come right onto your belly. As you're starting, maybe you're groggy, you're starting to wake up. This is great alternative to looking at your phone, right?
Yeah.
Breathe. And as you're breathing, I call it a positive mental rehearsal. See in your mind's eye everything working just like clockwork. I oftentimes, I will walk through a couple key aspects of my day in my mind while I'm breathing and calming my system. And if there's something that I'm a little more excited or nervous about, I like to say excited more than nervous, but
Yeah.
then I will see it and will walk right through the key steps of it. And I'll see it with success while my body's relaxed. So I create an emotional memory for it in my
How
body.
long do you do that breathing in the morning? What do you think?
Maybe 2 minutes. Like,
Oh, okay.
not long. I mean, because the time really is because I'm actually doing a visualization while I do it.
Sure.
But it doesn't take long. I mean, breathe. If you need a number, everyone, breathe 8 times. Breathe 8 times.
Yeah, I say I like that. So tangible. Give me 8 times. I could do it 9 times, right? So, but yeah, the idea is to breathe. The other thing I like about this, Mel, is laying on your tummy. When you're in yoga and practice, they'll come over and sometimes they'll just put a finger on the muscle that they want you to activate with whatever the pose is, warrior, whatever it might be. And just that touch, the mind goes to where the touch is, right? And that activates that muscle. So what, for me, again, I'm visual, it's tangible. Laying on my tummy as I breathe out, I'm feeling that muscle right in the stomach. And then that idea of visualizing too, I like, but I would visualize as well as that air is going back into my back and literally the vagus nerve. And almost like you said, like in my mind, I would picture it as a pulsing, like almost like a little massage to get it activated and ready to go. So I love that because it's like the muscle, you're laying on it, exactly that you're doing it correctly because you're feeling the pressure from the bed, the mattress.
Yeah.
So I love that. Another great tip. I hope everybody's writing these down if you're not driving. Another question I have, the breathing and the stressor, you said the brain protects us from the tiger, right? The saber-toothed tiger. It was a needed resource, when the dinosaurs roamed. But now we go into stressor all the time. It's almost like our body has, our body and our mind, I think to some extent, goes into that stress mode. Through your research, writing the books and everything, is it just because of life and the stress and we're not taught how to breathe that we forget? Like what's the research showing? What are your clients saying to you?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think it is just kind of like a habitual thought patterns and
Yeah.
all the, we look at what stresses us out. Well, the clock stresses us out and the dings on our phone and the dings on our email, like just that alone. So,
Yeah.
if you can, friends, right, shut those all off. Like just shut all the dings and the things and the, so, also too, it's like many of us, not in my house because I'm a little like I need things quiet, so I've made those turns, But the television running all the time, the news running all the time. There's these ways that we're getting constant kind of influx. I
Yeah.
call it looking at what we're eating mentally. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to look at what we're eating. I'm not a nutritionist, but eat whole foods, right? Do your best.
Yeah.
Drink good water. But I'm talking about, what are you eating mentally? And I feel like with the students and clients that I work with, that's the main place we need to start looking at. And what kind of thoughts are you allowing to get in there and circle? And a part of that is also just stepping back and observing, like
Mm.
stepping back, because sometimes we're so ingrained in our thoughts, we don't even realize they're our thoughts. We think they are us. Aren't I my thoughts? No, you're not. Actually, you're not your thoughts. You can actually observe your thoughts and then choose to agree or disagree. And you could be like, is that really true? Is that really true, Mel? Everybody's out to get you, whatever it is that, that your mind might be telling you. Oh, this is hopeless. Is it really? You're not a morning person, really? Mhm. So
I
there.
love it. I love it because, it's the old, I'm not good enough. We all have it, man. We all have it,
100%.
Mel. And it's like, was that true? Like I remember when COVID hit, we're out of time, but I do have to share this. When COVID hit, right? My husband, his company folded, and my income stopped because I did everything live. I didn't do anything digital. And so for 20 years, I had built this great business and it just in one day stopped, right? So 2 kids in college, no income. Well, let me tell you, it was not an easy day when that all happened. And I remember saying to my husband, like, what are we going to do? We're going to lose everything. And see, so that's my point. It took me about a day to realize, no, you're not going to lose anything. You had money in the bank, right? We had retirement money. We have equity in the house. Like when you really stop and look at it logically, it's like, yeah, we're not going to go bankrupt. No, we're not going to lose everything. We're going to tighten our belts, man. It's not going to be it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah,
We've got this
challenge.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations though, Connie. Like just that, I mean, it's an attest to your practical power as a human and a person. And I'm so glad that you're out there sharing that with friends.
Yeah,
It's important.
that's why I love the show, because I get to have guests like you, and it gets me excited because I learn every time I have a guest on. There's such just a tremendous value added to me, and I always hope to my listeners, because like the water thing, someone recommended it, and I did it, and it has served me. Now the breathing thing, I know I don't breathe enough, right? It's you do it during yoga, but then you don't bring the mat with you. You don't bring those habits with you. So the little tummy exercise, getting up in the morning, stretching my spine while I'm making my coffee as I sit there with my eyes closed, right? All of these little things. I love your term, stacking the habits on those habits of get up, go to the bathroom, wash your hands, go down, make your coffee, stretch your spine, right? Wake up, lay on your belly. So these little hacks, I'm going to use your word hacks. I think they're easy habits to put into place to manage. Thank you so much, Mel. Oh my gosh, it goes so fast. I want to share Melanie's website with you. Please go check it out. See all the cool things she's doing. She's my kind of people, but it's Melanie Salvatore-August.com. It's her name. And you do have a free gift. Can you share what that's going to be?
So if you sign up at my website, I will send you a tutorial for that full and complete breath. That it's a game changing breath. So it'll just be a quick video, a little excerpt from the book. The book has all of it in it as well, if you're visual and you want to read. But come and sign up for, and I'll send you that. It'd be great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll put the link, guys. Don't worry about it. And the name of the book is Yoga to Support Immunity.
A mind, body, breathing guide to whole health, our whole life. It'll encompass our whole life.
Yeah. And that's where we need it. If we could start doing more cumulative things, like these many little things that you shared with us, right? The little adds up to the big, right? Reactions.
The biggest effect. It will have these little choices that you make will be much more potent than one big choice once a week. A ton of little choices, or even just one little change, one time a day will make a difference in your life. So
Yeah.
I'm
And you're creating habits, right? The more we do it, then like getting up in the morning, like you said, with your morning routine. At night, I don't even think about filling my water bottle. It's a habit, right? You just do it in the morning. I wake up, I drink my water. I don't even, it's not even a thought of drink your water now, right? Because I've been doing it for so long. So I think that's the key, those little habits. Where can we stack them? Again, just such a great recommendation, Mel. Where can we stack them so we do it throughout the day? Example might be when you get up from your desk or whatever you're doing, you go to the bathroom and you're washing your hands. Stretch your spine for that minute as you're washing your hands and drying your hands. So again, we could put them into things that we're doing because you have to go to the bathroom, right? We all need bio breaks during the day.
Think about it.
Stretch, do a 1 minute breathe, stretch your spine, come back and start working again. I have so many more questions. I think we might have to do another show. No pressure, but
I'd love to, Connie.
Yeah, Melanie, nobody says no to me.
They're smart not to.
100%, right?
Right, 100%.
Correct me. You get me already. We just met. I love it. Thank you so much for being on, sharing, and thank you for the book and just really. This information is vital, I think, as we come out of the pandemic and we start to focus on self-care again and, all these things. I think these little tips that you shared are easy, but miraculous at the same time. And I think that's where we need to keep focusing our brains and our minds so that we get healthier and healthier and wiser and wiser, right?
100%. Thank you so much for the work you do in the world, Connie.
Same to you, my friend. Really a pleasure. Really a pleasure meeting you today and getting to know you. So thank you again for creating such great content for my folks that tune in. Yeah, thanks. And I hope you will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together. No matter where you are on your journey of change, I really do hope my guests and I share just a tip idea that you can implement immediately. I know I'm a broken record and I end every show saying this. Information is fabulous. Doing nothing with it, it's just information. When you start applying little tips like Melanie shared today, that's where the magic starts happening. That's where life starts changing. And that's where I think life becomes magical and wonderful. So again, try the tips out, report back. I love to hear how things are going. And again, buy Melanie's book and be sure to get her free gift in the show notes. Again, it might help you with whatever you're working on, whatever change you're functioning through. Melanie, thank you again for joining and sharing so much wonderful information. You've been listening to my pleasure too. You've been listening to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net with me, your host, Connie Whitman. Thank you so much for joining me on your journey of change. And I will see you all next week with a new guest, new information, and hopefully new inspiration. Have a great one, everyone.